Okay, let's be real for a second. Picture this. Someone asks you for a small favor, something you just can't do, and your simple, one-word no somehow explodes into a 10-minute-long apology tour with a full backstory. Sound familiar? Yeah. Let's get into why that happens.
I mean, we've all been there, right? A friend asks for help moving, or your boss asks you to stay late, and instead of just, sorry, I can't, you launch into this whole monologue about your cat's dental appointment, the laundry you have to do, and how you're just so sorry. Why do we do that? What is going on there?
Well, here's the twist. It feels like you're just being polite or considerate, but what's really happening is way deeper. Psychologically, this is a huge sign that your brain has flipped a switch. It's gone into full-on defense mode, trying to manage how other people see you, just so you can feel safe.
So let's dig into the why. We're going to explore the psychological roots of this habit. And honestly, you might be a little surprised to find out that, for most of us, it starts way, way back in childhood.
And it's so important to see this for what it is. This is not a personal flaw. It's a survival skill that you learned, and it probably served you really well at one point. We're going to look at three main drivers behind it. Something called the easy child adaptation, the idea that your worth equals your usefulness, and using your words as a kind of shield.
Okay, so this first one is fascinating. The easy child adaptation. If you grew up in a home where maybe things were a little stressful or tense, you probably got really, really good at reading the room. You learned how to be cooperative, how to not cause any trouble, basically how to keep the peace. As an adult, that skill translates into constantly scanning every situation to head off tension, usually at your own expense.
And oh boy, this one is huge. So many of us learned deep down that approval was conditional. You got praise when you were being helpful, when you were achieving things, when you were no trouble. So now, as an adult, saying no without a 5-point presentation feels dangerous. It's like you haven't earned the right to have a boundary because you're not being useful in that moment.
This ties right into something called rejection sensitivity. If you've ever felt like you weren't the first choice, your brain's radar for being excluded can get turned up to 11. And when that happens, you start using words as a shield. You over-explain to control the story, to make sure there's absolutely no way anyone could misunderstand you, find you difficult, and then leave.
So you might be thinking, okay, but what's the big deal? It's kind of a harmless habit? Well, not exactly. There's a real hidden cost to all this explaining. Let's break down how this tendency is actually working against you.
This just lays it out so perfectly. Your intention, what you think you're doing, is just trying to be understood and keep things smooth. But the message you're actually sending is something totally different. You're basically saying, hey, my boundary is flexible, it's negotiable, and if you can just solve all these little problems I'm listing, you can have what you want.
And that just kicks off this downward spiral. You end up emotionally exhausted because you're constantly trying to manage everyone else's feelings. It creates these one-sided relationships where you're the one always doing the understanding, but you never really feel understood yourself. And over time, it just weakens your boundaries.
Okay, enough of the problem. How do we fix this? The good news is, we totally can. It all starts with learning a new, really simple, but totally transformative habit. Let's look at some phrases you can start using right away.
Now I know, at first glance, these might feel a little blunt, maybe even rude. But here's the magic. They are complete sentences, period. There's no opening for negotiation. There's no invitation for them to solve your problem. Just saying, that doesn't work for me, is a huge act of taking your power back.
And what you're doing when you practice this is building what psychologists call an internal locus of control. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. You start to trust that your strength and your worth come from inside you, not from getting everyone else on the outside to agree that your needs are valid.
So when you really boil it all down, it comes down to this one fundamental shift. It's about changing your priority. You're moving away from prioritizing other people's comfort, and you're moving toward prioritizing your own clarity and your own peace. And listen, if you've been nodding along this whole time, recognizing yourself in all of this, I really want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not weak. You are not annoying. You developed these habits for a reason, to protect yourself. You are carrying a mind that was expertly built for survival. So, if you only take one thing away today, let it be this. This is the mantra. It's a choice you can make in every single interaction, big or small. Choose your peace over their comfort. It's not selfish, it's sustainable.
So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. What is one boundary, just one, that you can state clearly and simply this week, with no long explanation needed? Because that one small moment of clarity, that's where the change really begins.